and people complain about 20-something-year-olds playing high school students. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2022 psychological horror prequel, Orphan: First Kill. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Orphan: First Kill stars Isabelle Fuhrman, Julia Stiles, and Rossif Sutherland, and was directed by Brent. Set 2 years before 2009's Orphan, it tells the story of Esther as she comes to America and terrorizes a family. In the world of film franchises, there are few things looked down upon more than prequels. People have grown to expect sequels. They complain about, but accept, remakes. But a prequel? Not usually something people get excited for. This is especially the case with horror movies, and especially the case with horror movies that came out more than a decade before. Orphan was a bit of a surprise 13 years ago. It's far from being universally loved, but it's definitely got its fans, myself included. That first film is a very contained story. It's the kind of movie that you don't expect or need turned into a franchise, even if you really like it. But more than a decade later, a prequel was announced. And not just any prequel, but a prequel headed directly to streaming, the modern-day equivalent of direct-to-video. That didn't inspire much confidence, but as a fan of the original, I was intrigued. However, after hearing that Isabelle Fuhrman would be reprising her role and getting a good trailer, I was actually excited. As usual, this is going to be a spoiler-free review, and because the first film hinges on a twist, I'm also going to keep it spoiler-free for the original too, just in case you haven't seen that one yet either. That said, I have to warn you that Orphan: First Kill does spoil the twist of its chronological predecessor in the opening minutes. For the story of this prequel, it's important that you know the twist, so it makes sense that it tells you, but if you haven't seen the 2009 Orphan, make sure you watch it before watching this prequel. Prior to seeing this film, I was very curious about what they were going to do with the story. We had gotten little tidbits of information in the first film, so I suspected this would be kind of a rehash of that movie. And to a certain extent, it is a bit superfluous, but by telling the audience the first film's twist up front, it really changes the dynamic, and changes what the story could do. It's got a lot of throwbacks, or throw-forwards, I guess, and some mirrored moments, but this isn't just a rehash of the first film. And as remarkable as it is, this film manages to throw yet another unexpected twist at us, only further changing what the story could be. As a result, this film is a bit of a tonal shift from the first movie. Orphan was a fairly serious psychological horror film, with a mystery at its core that was sort of the driving focus. Orphan: First Kill removes that mystery component. If you've seen the original, you know how essential that mystery was to making the film work. So you might be thinking, what does this film possibly have to offer? It's not what I would call a light-hearted film, but it takes a more fun and even occasionally darkly comedic approach to the story, and specifically to Esther. I'm not sure I would quite call this campy, but it definitely doesn't take itself as seriously as the first film did, which could be a good or a bad thing for existing fans. Personally, I had a good time with it, and enjoyed the different direction that it took. Much like the original movie, the performances were really solid, especially from the women of the story. Julia Stiles is the new mom here, and is extremely different from Vera Farmiga's mom character in the first film. Both are dealing with grief, but in very different ways. There's not quite as much emotional depth to this prequel, so the way in which Stiles plays her role is understandably different, but it's unexpectedly entertaining. What wasn't unexpected here was the fantastic performance by Isabelle Fuhrman. It's been 13 years since the original movie. She was 12 when that film came out, and is 25 now, but was able to easily fall right back into the role. And with the newfound freedom allowed by this prequel story, she clearly had a blast playing Esther again. And that enjoyment and fun and passion for the character shows, and I think enhances the film. Speaking of Isabelle Fuhrman, if you've never seen Orphan, or even if you have, you might be questioning the logistics here. or my math. Orphan came out in 2009, and Isabelle Fuhrman, who was 12 years old at the time, was playing a 9-year-old Esther. Orphan First Kill is a prequel, set 2 years before the events of the first film, meaning Esther is 7 here. However, it's been 13 years since that first movie came out, and Isabelle Fuhrman is now 25, more than twice the age she was during filming of the original movie, and playing a younger character. It sounds ridiculous, and it kind of is, but there's no way they could have recast Esther. Fuhrman is Esther, but it somehow works. If you watch the two films back to back, Fuhrman does, understandably, look a little older here. Her face is thinned out a bit, but with the makeup and forced perspective and body doubles for the medium and long shots, she manages to actually kind of believably be able to play this role, all without CGI de-aging. It's definitely a strange thing, and a little gimmicky, but it works, and allowed for this prequel that was unexpectedly good. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. The biggest pro was the twist. Again, no spoilers here, so I'm gonna be very vague. Much like the original film, the twist is essential to enjoying this movie. Honestly, I didn't think that they were going to be able to hit us with another twist. At least not one that was unexpected. Especially since this film gives away the first movie's twist almost immediately. I kind of expected a more straightforward story than what we actually got here. It definitely throws us a curveball, and as a result, changes the trajectory of the story in a way that was really satisfying and quite different from the first movie. Pro number 2 is one that this prequel shares with its original film: the performances. Everybody's pretty decent here, but the two standouts are definitely Julia Stiles and Isabelle Fuhrman. Stiles plays the mom in this film, and much like the movie as a whole, I was kind of expecting something very similar to what we had gotten in the previous film. I love Vera Farmiga's performance in that original movie, but Stiles does not emulate it, or even remotely resemble that performance here. It was different and more entertaining than I expected. And then, of course, we've got Isabelle Fuhrman reprising her role as Esther. It's been 13 years, and she's definitely grown up in that time, but she was really able to fall right back into this role, and clearly had a fantastic time doing so. She's just as creepy and manipulative as before, but this particular movie allows for a little bit more dark humor and fun, too. On the con side, the biggest issue was how comparatively little tension there was. Now, this is a problem that a lot of prequels face, so it's probably not a huge surprise here. The first film was really built upon its mystery and the creepiness and tension that resulted from not knowing exactly what was going on with that mystery. This movie gives away the first film's twist in the first 6 minutes, and so it starts you off in a very different place. You kind of have a better handle on what's going on and what to expect from the character, which just knocks out any sort of tension or anticipation about what might come. There's obviously still a twist that occurs, but it's a different type of twist and not as suspenseful as you might expect it to be. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Orphan First Kill or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy on my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Orphan First Kill 3.5 out of 5 paws. It's not as creepy and tense as its predecessor, and it is a bit superfluous, but it's a very entertaining prequel that delivers a similar concept in a surprisingly different way. I would recommend Orphan First Kill to fans of the first Orphan, especially those who also like fun slashers. This film is very much a direct prequel to the original movie, and has a lot of things that you probably enjoy from the first film, but it's not quite as serious and emotional of a movie. It leans into some fun and darkly comedic elements a little bit more. I've also gotta warn you that this film gives away the twist of the original movie almost immediately. So if you haven't watched the first Orphan yet, make sure you do so before watching this prequel. If you liked Orphan First Kill, I've obviously gotta recommend Orphan. Like I said, hopefully you've seen this first movie before watching the prequel, since the twist does get spoiled. But even if you've seen the film before or already knew the twist, I would still recommend rewatching it either before or right after seeing this new prequel. There are a lot of fun throwbacks and mirrored scenes, plus you get to experience Isabelle Fuhrman's early fantastic performance again. Speaking of Fuhrman, if you want to see some more of her recent work, specifically work where she's actually playing a character who's somewhat close to her actual age, you've got to check out The Novice. It's not a horror movie, but it definitely has some psychological elements, and she gives a fantastic and very intense performance. And if you liked some of the unexpected twists of this film and want to watch another horror movie directed by William Brent Bell, you might want to watch The Boy, which was the first film he directed that he didn't also write. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Orphan First Kill? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite prequel movie? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.